Hey VC, it's Jonathan, your cheap and cheerful record collector. Hard to believe another year has come and gone. Another couple of days, we're into the new year. A lot of people doing videos of best of. The best records I found, the best records released, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I decided to do the 10 best, my 10 best finds of the year. And as I was doing it, I realized I'm going to have to do two lists. So it's going to be the first video today is going to be the 10 best rock, pop, blues, that kind of stuff, soul. And then I'm going to do a separate video of the 10 best jazz albums I found of the year. So these are all used records, nothing new. These are all records I found in Goodwill, flea markets, antique malls, Craigslist. A lot of times I'll find ads on Craigslist and go and buy collections of people, collections of the records, and then I will sell most of them and keep some of the good stuff for myself. This is the good stuff I found. Almost everything here I paid less than $5 for, which is part of my shtick. And let's get cracking. These are things I've been looking for. Not necessarily amazing records, just stuff I haven't had that I've been looking for. So first up is a band that I loved initially and then ended up despising, which is Fleetwood Mac. So lucky enough, I found their first album with Peter Green, and this is a first US stereo pressing. Very excited to see that on the yellow Epic label. This one I got, I think, at a record show. Been looking for this for a while, and it's only Fleetwood Mac I really enjoy is the stuff with Peter Green. So that's a great find for this year. Really, really happy about that. Next one is a record I've been looking for forever, basically. Basically, I'd given up trying to find a used one and was about to pull the trigger to buy a new copy when in the springtime I was in New York City, and a friend and I went down to Brooklyn. We went to Rough Trade Records, which is mostly new records, but in the corner they had a small collection of used records, and as I'm looking through them, this popped up at me, and it's the Beano album. It's a UK pressing. Couldn't find a date on it on Craigslist, on Discogs, about what date it was, but it's the original John Mayall, Eric Clapton Beano album, also with John McVie from Fleetwood Mac eventually. Great album. Early Eric Clapton playing his heart out. Love this record. Really happy to get that. And just to show you, it's the UK Decca label. Very nice. Real happy to add that to my collection. And then the next one, just recently, a friend of mine who doesn't collect records but always hits up flea markets, etc., and then he'll find something and lay it on me. So a couple weeks ago, actually about a month or so ago, he showed up. He said, "I got something for you." I said, "What do you got?" Tom Waits, Nighthawks at the Diner. I had this when it first came out way back in '75. Actually saw him right around then in New York at the Bottom Line, and been looking to get a nice copy. I had this on CD for years, but looking for a really nice copy of Nighthawks at the Diner on the Asylum label with the clouds. Really good condition, and I know he paid virtually nothing for it, and he actually gave it to me for nothing, so a great addition to my collection. Anytime you find Tom Waits out in the wild, you got to grab it. So lucky to get that. Next one, I was at next two actually came from the same place. This woman put an ad in Craigslist that she had a bunch of records to sell, and it was an amazing score. A lot of my jazz albums I'll be showing tomorrow came from the same collection. I bought about 250 records. I think I spent less than $200, about $200, so it's less than $1 an album. And this one, though it's a repress, I'm still happy to have it. It's the roots of Lightnin Hopkins, which is actually a repress of the 1959. This is a 1968 reissue. The original one is 1959. Just called Lightnin Hopkins. Is the one that has The figures like 6, 8 figures in a row. It says Lightnin Hopkins on top. So this is a repress from '68. It's great. I mean, the only problem, of course, is that it had been electronically reprocessed for stereo, which sort of sucks. But I'm glad to have it. It was in really nice condition on Folkways Records, Black Folkways label. So it's early Lightnin Hopkins, 1959. So how bad could it be? I mean, it's great. It's a great album. That's it, Lightnin Hopkins. Next one I saw at the same woman's house, and my heart stopped for a minute, and then I realized I had a gem, and it's Moondog, and this is an original first pressing from 1969. It is a, what do they call it, envelope sleeve, Unipack, on Columbia Masterworks, the gray Columbia Masterworks, in, I'm not going to say new condition, but near mint condition. I don't know if you know the Moondog, but he was a gentleman who used to live in New York City and wrote poetry and classical music, or modern classical music. He used to sell his poetry on the streets of Manhattan. And you'd see him around the city in the late 50s, early 60s all the time. And he was dressed like that. That's Moondog. So I was really excited to find that. Next one is a record I've been looking for a while. And I was with Brian from Shamrock and Records. We went to a record show down in downtown Portland, Maine. And as we're walking through, I see him. He goes, "I found what you're looking for, John." And I said, "What are they?" Hooker and Heat. He knew I'd been looking for this for a while. So, John Lee Hooker and Canned Heat. Double album. This one is from 1971. It's an early pressing. I'm not going to say it's a first pressing, but it's certainly an early pressing on the Liberty label. And again, an album I used to have way back when, so I'm really glad to be able to put it back into my collection. And it has, you know, all the great songs, Messing with the Hook, Meet Me at the Bottom, Burnin' Hell, I Got My Eyes on You, Whiskey and Women, Boogie Children, just great. Canned Heat with John Lee Hooker. Hooker and Heat. Next one, there was a record store in southern Maine that was closing. The guy was curmudgeon, shall we say. If he liked you, that was fine. If not, he was a trip. Anyway, I went into the store and I heard he was going out of business. And I walked in, and the first thing I saw, I said, "Oh my God, I've been looking for that. Gotta have it." Otis Redding and Carla Thomas on Atlantic, on Stax. I'm on Stax label. And this one, again, is a pressing of 1967. I don't think it's a first pressing, but it's certainly an early pressing. Great Stax label. And interesting, on the back of the album, there's a letter from Howard Baker Jr., who is a senator from that state. And he was such a miserable SOB, this guy. Anyway, he really was a horrible guy. Racist, just a miserable guy. But anyway, he wrote a letter about how proud Tennessee is of Otis and Carla. It's so funny. But a great, great album. Knock on Wood, Tramp, one of my favorite songs, Lovey Dovey. And coming up, I got to play this next week, is New Year's Resolution. Are You Lonely For Me Baby, Bring It On Home to Me. Just a fantastic album on Stax. All right, the next one. I had the album, and I was at a show somewhere. I can't remember where I got this. And I saw it. I said, "I have this record, but this looks different than the one I have." So it was really inexpensive. Screw it, I'm going to buy it anyway. So this is the one I had, which is the first Clash album, U.S. pressing, 1979. And then the one I saw was this. And you can see obviously the Clash is in a different place on it. The color's totally different. And this turns out to be a pressing from Holland. And there are different songs on. This one has 15 songs, this only has 14, but not every song is the same on both albums. So the American pressing starts off with Clash City Rockers. That's not even on the pressing from Holland. The pressing from Holland has 48 Hours, which isn't on the American. The American has, what's the other one they had? That's not on it. Oh, White Man and Hammersmith Palais, that's on here, not on here. This one has Protex Blue, which is not on here. So it's great, both copies, and basically covers all the tracks on the album. So 2 copies of The Clash. This one I had. This is the new one I just picked up from Holland. I'll show you the label. The CBS European label, that orange one. So that was really great. I was really excited to get that so now having 2 versions of the same album. It's pretty cool. So that was a great find. Next one, I was at a friend's house who is his hobby is building guitars, electric guitars. And I was down in his workroom and I see a stack of records. I said, oh, what are the records here for? He goes, oh, I'm going to cut out the label in the front with a jigsaw, and I'm going to use those coasters. I said, huh, okay. And I start going through it, and I saw this record. I said, you can't destroy this record. Are you crazy? He goes, what, you want it? I said, yeah, I think I do. And it's Michael Nesmith. And the First National Band, this is Magnetic South. I've been looking for all 3 of these, the red, the white, and the blue. And again, he gave it to me because I couldn't believe he was going to destroy it. I said, I got plenty of Mantovani albums. If you want to destroy them, I'll give you a couple of those. You can rip those up and cut out the label in the middle for a coaster. But you can't do it with this. So I was really excited to get that. And this one is 1970. Again, I can't say it's a first pressing, but it's an early pressing. And there's the RCA orange label. We all know what that looks like. Nothing special there. But then again, about a month ago, I answered another ad for a woman turned out to be a woman, person on Craigslist, selling records, and I went to her house, and as I'm digging through the pile of records, this popped up. So it's the second one, the Michael Nesmith White album, which is called The Nevada Fighter, and the First National Band, and also on, this is a Dynaflex copy. And I'm sorry, this is a this one was from 1971, even though this particular one, the date was unknown on Discogs. Couldn't really give me a date on it. So now I'm still looking for the red. So hopefully this year will be the year I can find the red copy, and then I'll have all 3, the red, white, and the blue. So I'm counting those 2 as one record, even though it's over 10 now. And then the last record for the year, and this one was amazing to me. Actually, I think it was last January, so it was just about a year ago. Again, guy on Craigslist, I drove to his house, taking me to his barn, stack of records, you know, basic stuff, classic rock. Some in good shape, some not in great shape. And then I see this album, and I said, oh, the first Dylan album, assuming it was a 1970s re-release on that orange-red Columbia label. And I said, well, let me see what kind of condition it is. And as I open it up and I take it out, I say to myself, oh my God, it's a first pressing stereo. Of course, I wish it was a mono, but original Columbia 6i first pressing. Again, not in great shape, definitely playable, but the kind of record where I'm going to buy another one just to have and listen to, and this one I'll just keep just to have. But yeah, first pressing of Bob Dylan album, where most of the album is all covers. I think the only new song on here that he does, I mean it's his, is Song to Woody. And I think that's the only song he wrote on this album. Talking New York. I think those are only 2 songs she wrote. Yep. So basically, his first album, 1962. I was super pumped to find an original Columbia 6i. Again, it's stereo. It's fine. Not in great shape. That's fine. But like they say, the time to buy it is when you see it. So again, this cost me probably less than $1 because I bought it with a group of like 200 albums. So those are my 10 plus finds for 2018. And I'm probably going to come back soon and do another video of my 10 finds of jazz albums for the year. Found some good ones. Hey, thanks for watching. I appreciate everybody taking the time. Got a couple of new viewers, so thanks so much for everybody who subscribes to my channel. And until next time, peace in the new year.